Hi, everybody. It's Leanne again.
And I'm Helaine. Welcome to Step Into Next, where we move together from what was to what's next.
In both business and life. Let's do this. So, I think it's kind of interesting that we're the opposite, but we still made it work.
Because I won.
You did win.
Yeah.
Um,
Let the record state.
and now you have me
I
for
won.
life.
Yeah.
I'll find
Oh, wow.
you.
Hold on. Life? That's triggering a lot of commitment issues for me.
No, I'll find you. But why? So, how do you navigate? Like, again, you and I started off as, I would say, professional friends, and now we've become good friends. But like, when you work with friends, your co-founder Ashley from City Row or whatever, like, how did you deal with that, and then go out for drinks after a tough day at work?
Okay, I'm gonna answer it backwards
Okay, do it.
in the sense of how many people have met a really good friend at work,
Like,
right?
meaning you get the job and you meet the person.
Yeah, that's what I mean by
Okay.
backwards. So, like, I do think that
Don't be
it's
condescending.
amazing. Sorry, I had a rough morning. I'm not taking out the hairstylist on you, but I'm not taking it out on you.
I'm not the stylist, okay?
I know, I'm sorry.
Jesus.
So I think when I think back to like some of my most favorite moments professionally, they've been with people who are my friends.
All right.
And I'm also someone that I go really, really hard and really deep into something professionally. I give it my all.
Mhm.
And if I'm going to be spending that much time with somebody, I want to really like them and respect them and think about the people that you know really well. They're your friends.
Sure.
I know what my friends are capable of. I believe in them. I also probably know what their weaknesses are,
Yeah,
so I can
true.
solve for them versus like, hey, this person over here is really good at, X, Y, and Z. Well, how the fuck do I know?
Mhm.
Maybe it's my lack of trust that pushes me here, but it's so much more fun. I mean, the Ashley co-founder thing was the biggest risk I've ever taken,
Yeah.
and we did it very intentionally,
Okay.
very
Like,
intentionally.
agreement signing and that kinda stuff?
Oh, from the very beginning. It was also very clear that we had complementary skill sets just out the gate.
Sure. Like
We
you and me, for
Like,
sure.
exactly, but we had a shared interest,
Mhm.
but we had very different skill sets, and so there was, like, a really nice partnership already happening,
Mhm.
and then when it became a critical point for her to join the business full time, that's when we were like, "Okay, what do boundaries look like here?" We had, like, a very silly metaphor that honestly worked super well for us. We would, like, take off and put on different hats.
That's so smart because it's
Yeah.
literally like almost the actual act, the physical act, even though you don't have a hat
Yeah.
on. I think that's super
So
smart.
I was like, "Oh, can we put our friend hat on for a
Yeah,
second and talk about New Year's?" Or like, "Hey," like if we were hanging out, I'm like, "Can we put our business hats on?" And it was like kind of lame, but it was important as a boundary.
totally. In Uplift in my company, I founded the company with two other women. I don't know if I ever told you this part, but we were not friends. We kind of came together for the business. Like, I didn't even really I knew one of the women not well. And then the other one kind of found us. And we said from day one, the business comes first. Like, we wrote, speaking of writing it into partnership agreements, that friendship, the business supersedes friendship. And interestingly enough, when I shut the business down, mm, they're wonderful women, but our friendship fizzled too. Is
Mm.
like, so we did become friends, but so I just think it's kind of interesting out there because, again, all the stuff that we're talking about in this podcast really does apply to building a business, working in a corporation, writing your book, building your brand, all those
Yeah,
things. And you got to, I suppose, we're both saying you got to choose wisely who you work with.
you do.
And
And listen,
luckily, you've chosen so wisely. It's
you're
unbelievable.
welcome.
Thank
I
you.
think that and listen, I'm not saying like go into business with all your best friends. Like I have friends that like it would make no sense to go into business with, but I would say I know enough people and there are enough amazing people in my orbit that
Mhm.
like I would love to collaborate with. Like there's people in my orbit who I'm just like, I can't wait to like figure out how we're gonna work together.
Yeah, that is very much a hallmark of you specifically. You're a huge connector.
Yeah,
Like, you just
love
love
it.
connecting
Love
people in
it. Can't
general,
stop.
and you love connecting with people on projects and ideas and, like, rapping about stuff.
Literally
So,
can't help myself.
no, I love that. That's cool.
So
It's inspiring to me.
okay, thanks.
Oh, here we go. Our
Say
weekly,
more
like,
positive things about me.
patting each other on the head, saying good job.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about, our actual process. So we've mentioned before, we kinda did, like, how did we start? I don't remember. We just started
Again,
doing
you
weekly
you you
interviews?
drugged me into saying yes to a project that I didn't want
Stop
to
saying
do.
I drugged you because I didn't.
I know you don't want that identity, but I think it's actually only a matter of time.
How would I? how about I snake charm sounds terrible too.
Manipulated?
No!
Um,
Cajoled,
sure. I
encouraged, and convinced.
you convinced me. You convinced me. You also, I think you laid a really easy foundation for what starting the project would look like.
Mhm.
And you were also very, very emphatic, and you were very clear that this project was going to happen,
Mhm.
whether I wanted to tell my own story or not. You were going to tell it. That was kind of what I was just like, do I have a choice? I don't think I do. I was also intrigued. I was interested.
Yeah.
And then the beginning part of the process, which I'll never forget, because this doesn't even feel like a process. It was almost like you were a friend who wanted to listen.
Mhm.
And who doesn't like or love when somebody will open space to be heard?
And you love to chat.
I
Like
like to talk.
you're
Yeah.
a talker. I mean,
I'm a talker.
we get
Also,
to
so are
that.
you. Yeah.
Totally.
Is that
Yeah.
condescending?
No, no,
Okay.
no. I mean this very sincerely, not like you like to chat. I mean it like you actually, and not skipping ahead too much, but one big thing we learned in this is that there are different learning styles and
Yeah. I
different
think you're
like
getting ahead of your own outline, but that's okay.
shit.
A little bit.
It's not that far away.
Okay. I'm just saying you had me read this 10-page outline and I read it once.
I wanna go no, I'm just joking. No, but I'll continue on and I'll just say we learned that some people are verbal in how they process and share
Yeah.
and learn. Some people are written. I learn and process everything writing. You're vocal. Some
Yeah.
people visualize. So I just think
Yeah.
that's interesting, like a big general takeaway, and to learn your learning style
Totally.
in any capacity. So I
Yes.
apologize for getting ahead of myself.
No, no. I mean, it's actually fascinating because, and then I want to kind of get back into those first moments together and how we ended up taking what was like me telling you stories
Mhm.
while I was walking the boardwalk in Miami, just trying to get my 10K steps in the morning.
Wow.
Typically the morning walk was about 7,500 steps, close to 8,000 steps, but it was still like a really nice way to start the day.
You
And
know,
I got
that's
to
the
talk to
reason
you.
I take morning walks now is because you would always do that and I'd be sitting on my
Oh my
ass,
God.
and I've started morning walking every single morning.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'd like to sign your next blood work panel.
That's a good one.
I'm glad you
Okay.
got that joke. Because it's been a little tough over here.
Tough crowd.
Tough
I'm
crowd of one.
sorry. You're very subtle. You have subtle
I know, but I
sarcastic
would think that
humor.
at this point you would pick up on it.
But I don't. That's the
I
problem.
know, but it's disappointing.
Sorry.
Anyway, back to working with friends. No, I think the part of the process that always stands out for me is those early days and kind of jumping into the uncertainty of knowing and like, listen, it was beautiful that you would hold space for me. And that was actually enough for me in the beginning. I was like, oh, this could turn into something really cool. In the meantime, being able to talk it out
Mhm.
with someone who's
Mhm.
actively listening, asking follow-up questions, it felt really good, and it was at a time when the business was not doing well. We had a brick and mortar business during COVID. It was
God.
terrible. The rest of my day was bad. I knew my day was gonna be bad, and most days for that 3 months started with, like, telling you a story,
Mhm.
and I got to process it, and it was cathartic, so it was great. It was fun. It
Do you
was
remember I
really
used to
fun.
take handwritten notes on all of our this was before we used what, Otter AI or Fathom or anything. I would I had oops, sorry. Sorry, microphone. I had I still have stacks of actual notebooks of our conversations.
Wow.
I should have been a 1950s secretary with my
You'd be so good
shorthand.
at that.
So good.
Minus the whole 1950s secretary and rules thing, you would be great.
Yeah, I don't want that.
Yeah, I've never taken a note in anything in my whole life.
Okay, so we would just talk and share. Um, what was it about me that made you open up besides me strong arming you into it?
Yeah, and I'm mostly kidding about that, but I do think you saw me a moment of weakness and went for it. I think well we had a foundation of friendship and trust. And
Mhm.
yeah, it wasn't what
Trust.
it is now, but I had been working with you for close to a year.
Mhm.
We were both female founders in fitness.
Yep.
So we had this connection that was super strange. I mean, like there's what, 12 of us founders of New York City fitness studios, women.
That was cool.
Yeah.
It's like a bonding
Yeah,
thing
I don't
for
need to do it
sure.
again, but it was fun in the moment. I'm
I
glad we
do.
had each other. Like there was an underlying trust where I know what she's been going through and I want to support her, even though we were all competitors, actually. Do you ever think about that?
So I have this thing. I don't actually believe in competition really.
Oh God.
I
I want to win at everything we do.
I believe in collaboration
Oh
or just
God.
that it's like the abundance energy. I'm getting a little woo here, but I
Oh,
believe
okay.
there's
No,
enough to
I
go
feel that.
around,
Okay.
you know? Like I really do.
But there are
So,
only so many people for so many seats. But anyway, in fitness,
ooh, maybe this is going to be a future podcast episode.
we need to write a book on that first. We can process the trauma.
We come up with a different idea every single day for a new book, but
It's actually amazing that we got through with the book. But
I
how did we
know.
get through with the book? I think I believed you and I trusted you, and it was actually a consistent element. And I talk about this a lot, and I do this like I actually do a keynote on this of like this element of say do is really how you build
Mm,
trust.
mm-hmm.
When people do what they say they're going to do over time, you start to believe them.
I love that. And if they don't or they do something different, it's
Yeah. And I'm
destabilizing.
sure that there were times where I bailed. Maybe it was raining in Miami. I didn't want to walk. Like I had actually no interest in doing this when I was sitting on my couch. I had
Oh,
to be walking
okay.
every time
That's really interesting.
because
You
otherwise it was an inefficient use of my time
well, also, you've said to me in the past, I didn't realize this was with the book, honestly, but that you really like to have walk and talk meetings
all the time.
because it helps you think.
Gets the juices going.
It's that interesting, like, learning styles thing too, or speaking styles. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, you created a space. It was like there was trust. And then I remember I probably canceled and you were just like, okay, well then tomorrow, Monday, what about the weekend? Like you also your enjoyment of
Clearly, I
it.
had a lot going on.
Yeah,
Just kidding.
you're super cool. Yeah.
Oh,
Between snacks, the
you
Leanne share
I was
story.
literally living with my sister, brother-in-law, and
Oh
nephews. I was
God.
like,
Oh, no wonder I was so exciting.
anything to get out of it. No,
That's
just
true.
kidding. I love
Um,
them.
so yeah, I mean, the first 3, 4 months, like I was just dictating stories to you and I really didn't have a lot to do. And I was like, where is this gonna go?
Mhm.
I really had no idea what kind of book we were gonna write. And I think that especially at that moment in time, was kind of a big risk for me to jump into something so unknown. So you must have created a confidence, and you did have a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
You had a ton of confidence that this book was gonna emerge in the way that it should have.
Yeah, and I mean, that goes back to we trusted each other and the process and all
Yeah.
that. And I think whenever somebody's telling their story, we keep talking in this podcast about that transition time and you telling your story to get to the next thing or just in the transition. I don't know. I think that stories emerge from that. You don't always know what
Yeah.
your story, your big story is. Like when you wrote your keynote, did you know what your points were necessarily gonna be at the
No.
time? No, it came
Still not
out.
really sure. Kinda
Right.
kinda wing it, yeah.
I mean, you're
But still hire me.
good
I
at
put a lot of
winging
thought into it.
it. Okay, so here's oh, and one other thing we were talking about. I'm looking at my outline right now, and there's so much
It's a
good stuff
beautiful
here.
outline.
One funny thing that we talked about before this was how we've talked about how we are not the same in terms of getting up in the morning or staying up late at night, all these differences that we have. We don't have the same voice or tone or
No.
style. We don't have the same levels of sarcasm.
Do you
You
have a
said
level?
no, I do not. I'm level like -10.
Okay, good.
I'm trying. Um, we don't even use the comma the same way, but where I use it correctly, of course.
I will give you that one.
Yeah. But where we did come together, you had an idea for the chapter in the book, The Day in the Life
The
of
day in life.
Helene.
Chapter 11.
Yeah, was it chapter
Of
11?
course, my favorite chapter.
Isn't that funny? Chapter 11 is also bankruptcy, right? I don't know if that's symbolic.
Why would you
Sorry.
bring that up?
Sorry.
Too soon.
No, but you got acquired, okay?
Looking for a new podcast
Um,
co-host.
so this chapter wrote itself. I
It was so
remember
fun.
it. It was so much fun. The whole thing would say a little bit of it. It was like, wake up from the alarm at 6 a.m. Just talk a little bit about the day in the life.
Oh my god. I mean, I am actually kind of still triggered sometimes when I think about that
I
day
know.
because it was an example day that was so real. It was like wake up, like force myself to have some coffee and a banana, get myself to tennis at the 1 hour where my phone's not on. And then I'm like afraid to look at my phone after tennis. And then I jump in the car and I get like one song on the way home. And then I have to immediately race onto the phone. And I think it was like immediate triage with investors who were screaming at me. And then I have like 30 seconds before I have to go on like Cheddar TV Live and talk about how great the business is. And then like
Lies,
then
all
something makes me
lies.
cry again. And then I have to like go tell the team how great everything is and like we're gonna be fine. Everyone has a job at least through next week. And then like meetings, work. My mom calls decline. Like maybe I ate something unclear. And then I was like dreading an evening event with like some
Ugh,
terrible Miami investor who was gonna like at some point I knew he was gonna ask me to go to the strip club that night. And I was like, this is a horrific life. How did I get here? And then wake up and do it all again the next day.
damn. Well, one little aside I want to say about some terrible potential investor. We are, dear reader, dear listener, going to do some sort of expose. If these people are lucky, we will not name names, but
Oh shit.
I've got some stories, you've got some stories about trying to raise money as a woman, trying to be out there in the world of business, and
Not recommended.
yeah,
Just kidding.
please don't. Raise money from women. Women invest in other
Yes.
women. That's what we need
Yes,
to do. Let's
please,
start
more
a
of
whole
that.
new feminine power, female power, matriarchy, whatever. Anyway, that's my aside, but we are watch out. You know who you are, people. But
Yeah.
this chapter was again, it you said, "How about this idea?" I was like, "Done."
Yeah.
Wrote it. I mean, we literally wrote it in like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And anybody that has ever started anything, no matter what, should, if you read nothing else, you should read every word of Making Waves. But that chapter is the best of all time, and
It's
it was
fun.
the
You're really
most fun.
there with us.
Totally.
And I think that that was also a really nice microcosm of when we did, like when we were in flow, we were really in flow.
Yeah.
And I actually, when I think back to our process, I'm surprised by how different our natural styles of working are.
Mhm.
Not just the fact that you like legitimately suggest a 6:30 a.m. call, which like I'm surprised that I even respond to your requests like that. I don't wake up until like at least 9:30 or 10 after like, very long morning routine of gratitudes and a workout and like I've done everything else before I want to hop on the phone with you.
Wait, you wake up at 9:30 or 10?
No, that's like when I'm
When
ready
you're
to have a
ready. Okay,
conversation,
okay.
but like certainly not before. So when you lived on the West Coast,
Oh,
we
yeah.
were so aligned when I was on the
Yes.
East Coast because
Yes.
I had 3 hours
Yep.
before you started me. Um, but I actually think back and I think that those moments where I was dictating stories to you
Mhm.
and I was able to talk through things
Mhm.
were when I was really in flow. And then later on as we like had to workshop things like orally once we finally got, Fathom to record things for us and we would like you would like spin me up to talk about something, I'd be
Mhm.
fine.
Mhm.
The moments that were so hard for me were slightly later and when we started to put, our marketing proposal together and like our sample chapter,
Mm.
anytime that I had to force myself to sit down in front of the computer and like edit something, it was like pulling teeth
Yeah.
for me because I think one, I would just rather be like up talking to people and chit
Mhm.
chatting. But two, I wanted it to be so good.
Yep. I will say now having done this with many, many other all women, clients, that is a common denominator with people that want to be authors. They wanna write a book, but they're not the writer. They love all of them love to talk like you do and
Right.
love to tell their stories. I don't actually. I mean, I love to chit chat with you, but I would much rather write down all of my stories,
You're
which
very
is
curious.
yeah, I am super
Yeah.
curious, but not as much about my own stories and stuff. So that's interesting.
It is interesting. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I also think it was fun to realize that we actually do not have the same writing style. And I was surprised by how much I cared, frankly,
yeah,
about every sentence and every word. Like, I
you
actually think that
did.
we're complete opposites. Like, I remember just switching full sentences around
Mhm,
from you. Be like,
mhm.
nope, this is just like, we are just a dyslexic duo sometimes when it comes to writing. But you helped me just extract so much more than I ever could have on my own.
Teamwork makes the dream
Oh my
work.
God.
And on that note, we'll see y'all next week. There's a whole lot we're going to be talking about because we're going to be digging into, I'm going to say it out loud, the struggle.
Yeah. We had a good time, but it wasn't easy.
Nope.
Wasn't easy.
Till next time. Bye.
Bye. How long was that?